Hello my friends, hope you're doing alright. I'm Tino and I just conquered Japan. It took me a lot of time. I made a lot of mistakes, so I'm planning to do this guide, and that way you're not going to make the same mistakes I did. So let's start. And if you are in Paradoxian channel, please subscribe here. It's Tino Dua English. I created this channel 2 weeks ago. So I hope to find you here. I will keep moving stuff from Paradoxian to here. In the previous game I tried to do a naval invasion, build tons of naval bombers, but there was no way after the patch to gain naval supremacy against Japan, playing as China, at least early on, so I decided to go for the paratroopers. After you get the technology, you are going to get this very basic template. It's not a full it's not a full division, it's just a brigade that is 3,000 men. And as you can see, it's bad and good. The bad thing is that it's very weak, but I usually like big divisions. But since it's small, it has also some very good benefits. If you use companies that give you raw power, absolute power, the smaller the unit, the better. So for example, we have a combat size of 5 and we have a soft attack of 41, and we are going to add the companies: artillery, engineer, anti-air, recon, and maybe not anti-tank, and we are going to talk about this later. So we went from 41 to 80 something, so that's double power, actually double everything, using the same combat width. So first step, you should add all the companies and you keep the same combat width, and therefore if for a regular size of a combat width of 20, you should be getting a base soft attack of 320. That is quite powerful for an infantry division. So this is the tip number 1. Make your division much stronger like this one. And now I would like to do a test. I'm going to add a heavy flamer tank and let's see how much we can improve the armor and see if we can get armor bonus. Just an experiment. I didn't. No, I changed my mind. You don't have time to research heavy tanks as China, and you don't have the tech teams. So we are going to explain that in the next tutorial that's going to be using paratroopers and tips. And we are going to see how much armor we can get in a paratrooper. So let's go to this. So after the patch, in the past I usually pick any division and transform the template of the division to the paratrooper, and that was all. Now you have to train the division, so plan ahead of time, get their research earlier, and train a lot, but a lot of paratroopers. You are going to need them, at least maybe 12. If more, the better, but 12 is minimal. So the first stage is to decimate the air superiority on Japan by destroying all the fighters, and for that use a heavy fighter model 40. I was destroying 500 fighters a month when they bring all the units and was losing none. And now, well, they have no more air force, but the usual losing 39 against 0, but I was losing 0 heavy fighters against 500 Japanese small fighters. Put a level 10 the maximum, the best radar you can. Start researching. You need the detection, that's the reason why you need a radar here. And the more airplanes in the area, the more detection that you will have. So after a while you will have a 50 detection like this one, and you're going to be destroying the whole air force over Japan. And after you secure the air, start building long range medium bombers to use as close air support, and we are going to show the templates just in case. The heavy fight, this is a close air support type 40, and we have a lot of bombs and nothing else, just a very cheap plane with plenty of bombs. And the heavy fighter is this one. You can always heavy fighters and long-range bombers, never small. And 4 heavy machine guns, the best engine, 3 armors, self-sealing tanks, and the best radio that you can. It's a level 3 radio, so you have to go ahead with all the tech teams and get all these technologies. Here is the gameplay. I was destroying 30 small fighters a day and losing none. And let me show you in a few days. So now the important part. You should block the strait. You have a connection here and a connection here to the main Japan. So put jump with paratroopers here and with paratroopers here. That way you are going to be cutting the reinforcements from land. Also, you should do several paradrops all in the territory, but you should try to isolate the enemy unit that is located here in the port. Probably there they will have 3 divisions. So the plan is to fortify this area, fortify this area, and fortify this area, and start building a port here. So what I did was to put all my units here, this number of units there, and start building a fort, a land fort. As you can see, it's already level 2 at the same time that I'm building the port in the south, and I'm building coastal fortress, just a couple. You don't need many because with just 1 brigade and the sea fort, you are going to be able to hold the Japanese at bay. Also, you have air superiority and tactical bombers. So the only critical area is this one, that the enemy is going to put all the divisions here and he's going to try to push. But since you are going to be building the fort there, he's going to fail. The forts are being built quite fast. And as you can see, I'm building the port and the forts. And that's all to secure this first island. This is the first step. After you got the first sector, the enemy is going to do kind of the same. They are going to fortify here and here, and you're not going to be able to move. So you can go back a little bit, and probably they will advance, and you are going to be able to paratroop, for example, here. What I did was send a paratroop here and here, so I managed to isolate the enemy. And well, kind of that I was able to push if you put enough troops in the middle. But you should pick the opportunity, because when I was advancing on this side, the enemy withdraw units from this side to protect the strait here. So I was able to move and take this province there. So it's kind of, there is not a fixed guide, but you should use your paratroopers to isolate and help you and the close air support, but it's not going to be easy at all. A big problem that I had was fuel, because I had fuel from the Soviet Union, but they decided not to sell anymore. So make sure to, if possible, to have some refineries. I did not build, so I was struggling with oil and fuel and supplies all the time. That was super painful. Despite I had here very elite units, they had a very difficult time. If you are going to try to cross the strait, of course, if you have Marines in your divisions, they will help you a lot. There is also a general that has improvisation, is improvisation expert, so he has a huge ability crossing rivers or straits of water. They are going to be super helpful. The good thing about the paratroopers is that they are self-sufficient, because Japan is full of populations, and you have, for example, here a supply depot. So if you just blockade here and take the supply depot, you can transport supply by the transport planes, but you really do not need, because the own city produces enough resources to supply the paratroopers. The tanks are a whole different stories, but you can use the technique with the paratrooper in this island. You can blockade these straits and build a port here. I didn't need to do that because, as I mentioned, when I surrounding this unit, those units from this area move back and I was able to cross and get the main line. Despite I lost the island, I managed to conquer this sector. Also, your transport are going to be bombed all the times by destroyed by the Japanese Navy, and therefore try to minimize the unit that you are using in the main Japan land. Just very few units, very good units, but few, because you're going to be lacking supplies all the times, and more units is worse. If you have strong units not so dependent on fuel, they are going to be better in Japan because it's full of mountains and river crossing, I mean crossings with water. And you're going to be having a lot of problems transporting the oil, the fuel to the island. And the supplies can be get from the cities within Japan. So maybe a super heavy unit with a lot of artillery and just one heavy medium tank, is a medium tank with a lot of armor, will be for me the ideal combination for pushing. The template that I was using was this one, and since it has a lot of tanks, I had big problems supplying it. But yes, I must confess that if I get just a full of tank, they push like hell. So if you manage to transport fuel, this template will overrun the island, but that's the problem, get the fuel there. And the only good thing is that you're going to be almost having 100% air superiority, so your close air support could do huge damage, like 16 points of damage air combat, and that will help you a lot. It's your only advantage. And take a look at this. I send the paratroopers here, the paratrooper there, the rest here, and as you can see, despite I do not have the supply depot, they are fully supplied. They have no problems with supplies, and that's great about the paratroopers. That's all I can give you. I can tell you if you have more hints, that will be great. I will try to do it I think that in the future I will try to do it again earlier, but I would like to hear from you what's your advice. Thanks for watching and have a